Sadly, it was a bit of a frustrating week for me. In round 23, I just lost my important head-to-head for the qualifying final. Do get to play again, but I went all in a little bit on a couple of trades and brought in Huddy Young for a low 60 score. I brought in Aaron Clark as well, picked up a 49, so that hurt me, and I lost by, I think, 16 in the end to get straight through to the prelim and have the week off. So now I definitely have to make sure I do well this week, or may have to trade. So I lost 178 spots, 13-16 was the score. 3 trades left, so I still got a little bit of room to go in trying to make that head-to-head as good as possible. But you can see there, Watson's 47, Carrigan's 49. I took the VC loop on Cleary, ended up having Simpkins come in late, but it wouldn't have mattered too much anyway, given my lowest score was going to be Ramian, who I looped out, popped Adam Dewey in as captain. So Ramian's 37 would have come out anyway. Instead, his score didn't count and Simpkins was taken away. So that didn't change anything in the end, which was ideal. He actually scored really well in 21 in 18 minutes or something like that. So with the squad to finish off the year, we're sitting there with Ramian as a bit of an extra in the side, using in case needed. Has the bye next week anyway. Next week's going to be an interesting one. I think having the potential of Yo returning, Tino returning, I think next week will be very helpful with Hines out, with Ramian out as well, and probably a good thing I don't have an Adam Fennell Blake in there as well. So Dewey and Terrell return for this one, which is nice, and I lose Huddy Young, and that is all for my Raiders, which is all right at least. Captaincy-wise, will be a little bit interesting here in round 24. You've got Penrith and Melbourne to kick things off. Probably not the best opportunity to captain all those types of players that I have. Warriors St. George won't be captaining Aaron Clark. Roosters Dogs, how good was Teddy? He's back in business. 189 in the end. All the tries, all the assists, all the good stuff there. So he has to be considered as a VC option, and for right now, he would be the best in that first 6 teams there, with Cleary being probably second best. That's going to be a really interesting clash, and both teams will want to win. Really, for Dogs, they'll just cement their spot in that top 4 and give them a bit of breathing room to maybe rest in the last round or 2. And Roosters will want to keep on with that momentum. For the Sharkies and Titans there, we saw Jaden Campbell should have picked up 100 and end up with that error thanks to a late tackle from Latrell. I can't believe he didn't just put the ball down, but captainers would have been spewing with that, given he should have got near that 100 mark. Against the Sharkies there, Hines not someone we could captain, but his nuclear type nature of scoring is probably not there this year. Broncos Dolphins, we don't have Herbie to captain. For the Broncos side, the hit and miss nature of like a Reece Walsh. I think Payne Haas is a very safe option, VC or captain. So it could be a Teddy into a Payne Haas type of deal, or potentially a Terrell May. I think could be a nice one there. South and Para, if you want to take a bit of a flyer on Latrell, could be fun there. Tigers and Manly, you can get a little bit excited with guys like Garrick or Turbo, but they don't stand out to me. The team's just playing too poorly. If they're on a bit of a roll, then coming up against the Tigers, that could be cool. Also unsure this week with the weather as well. And then Cowboys coming up against the Newcastle Knights, and Drinkwater kind of struggling a little bit at the moment. Tommy Dearden, someone that you can look at. And from the Knights, there's not too much else there. So I suppose when I look at my side, I've just put it together here to fit the 18 for this week. And I'm able to fill out the squad with a pretty solid 18 there. The only ones I'm probably worried about a little bit at the moment is Watson with the minutes he's playing. I don't rate that too much. Paddy Carrigan there, a bit of a low one after his good score a couple of weeks ago, and I think he can go back to hitting 60s this week. Should be kind of the norm there. Crichton's been pretty awful, unfortunately, so he's down to 547k, showing his recent scoring. Aaron Clark, so having these type of guys kind of getting their low scores, really, that they're going to get. Watson, Carrigan, Clark, Crichton. Hopefully an improvement from those guys. Lomax 47, Carraz 47 there. Drinky 43. So those kind of guys surely should all improve from there. You'd expect Teddy to come back to the pack. Edwards, solid enough. Guys like Campbell, Munster, Hines, we kind of expect sort of 70s or so from them. and had Huddy Young 62. So just a bit of a average week across the board, kind of carried a little bit by captaincy and also Teddy to still get in the 1300s. When you look at so many 40s there, to still get 1300 actually is pretty solid overall. But that was as I said, the problem with me and my head-to-head that I really wanted to win there. Lost by 13 in the end, sorry. So shout out to James with the same VC loop, and I was hoping to outdo him. I think he had Preston that went pretty low. I had Aaron Clark in the same game that went low as well. So some unluckiness on his side, but also mine there. You get that 75 from Clark, and that he has been getting very regularly, and get the win there. So that was the hope, but we get that second opportunity, which is the positive of coming second there. Now with my other head-to-heads, I lost a lot of them, to be honest. The Podmasters one was the main one. I actually got a win there against Matrix. Lost the JBFA private head-to-head, coming first against Tyson there, who's absolutely crushing it in... I'm assuming I don't know, maybe it's different Tyson. There's a couple in the private crew now. I was going to say he's coming to 10th in fantasy, but I think it's a different guy. Lost by 4 in the public league. Rough. Lost by 60 to Brainball in the Seed 1 league. I think we're just in the consolation section there in that one. And also I got one win in head-to-head 3 and lost the other head-to-head 2 there against Dave, who's having a solid year as well. And then Jaden, who's flying overall. And then the Contributors League got a loss by 5 in finals week 1. Of course, that's how it works. So yeah, it can be a tough one sometimes if you get a little bit of have a bit of a poor week in the ones that really matter. It can it can bring you down a little bit, but hopefully you get a second opportunity, and if you do, then that's what we're here for, along with finishing off the season well overall and trying to beat your previous best. Like last year I basically came 2800, and I'm hoping to beat that over the last 4 weeks there. And so when I'm looking at my side, who would actually be a sell? Like I'm sticking solid with Yo and Tino on the bench there. They're going to hopefully do a good job in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Starling at 472. Is there anyone really of note that we can bring in there that could help me this week? Probably not. And when I look at it, I think I'm going to match up with my head-to-head opponent this week, and then I think they got 1450 or something. So a really good week, and kind of just see through the week if I need to make any moves, like Huddy Young as a 1 week play, that type of thing with that cash available. Or there's some fun picks like Brian To'o, but up against Melbourne is the one you want to grab there. You could easily get like a 40 odd. Jesse Ramian at 476 could be used as a bit of a trade guy, but which player would I move to in that scenario? All 3 of the fullbacks should be able to have a solid enough game. Garrick against an easier opposition. Dewey, if he's playing 7, is good. Lomax against the South, I believe, should be solid as well. And then Carraz, a good chance he goes back to the wing with Connor Tracy returning. Halves and 5/8 are sweet. Surely a bit more of a base stack game and actually get a bit of work together from Crichton. And then Aaron Clark, they're so important for them to get a win in that one against St. George at their home ground as well. So I think overall we should have a better week, and hopefully it's enough to get through. And to be honest, if we don't make any trades, it leaves the 3 for that prelim the following week, or just getting through the end of the season and having a good couple of last rounds and finishing off, hopefully pushing myself near that top 1,000. So that's the general thoughts there. In terms of hookers, guys, it's still a really nice week to get on the Blake Brayley train, given he has an opportunity to keep doing well there. It's him and Harry Grant. I think Harry probably fits best to get through the final series at this stage there. For front rowers, you still got that cheap option in Adam Fanul-Blake if you need a win this week. But when you look at Payne Haas at 663, I think you make sure you get him along with Terrell. And then from there, it's just a bit of a lottery, a bit of a pick and choose. Who you think can have a good week to week? None of these guys are clearly standing out. You had IPAT with a try there on the weekend, which was good. Even Cohen Hess having a really nice one. Jolliffe has been really impressive, a 66 for him. 70 minutes he ended up playing in the end. So there's a few guys that stand out, but nothing too clear in front row forward. There's just so many injuries, hey? It's absolutely wild how it's playing out. Now, second row forward, you're still seeing some decent hit outs from Eli Katoa. You saw there I brought in Hudson Young and Aaron Clark, two guys that have had really good seasons, just happen to have a little bit of a poor one there. In the cheap range, I think Britton Nicker against the Titans, you can definitely say is a decent shout, although coming up against Beau Fermor will be not the easiest task there. Kaipius Paul against Cowboys, I don't mind. You've got Kikau and Preston at really nice prices there in $5.60 and $61 a piece. So either of those guys can do a job for you. And then Hofgood, I suppose the other one at $4.60, like really, really good base stat game for him. And as we mentioned, IPAP as well. As the other option, potentially in that second row forward, for the halfback position, it's just Cleary and it's Nico Hines straight up. And in 5/8, like I think both Munster and Campbell are definitely still the play. But if you're looking outside the square on that one, then Wishart could be the play. But against Penrith, is it the correct one this week there? But a really nice price at $3.63. If you can't go elsewhere and you've got Tanner Boyd, then that's where you could go there. And then you can see here with the centre wing, the four that I've got are probably pretty close to what we want. Timoko's been awesome. He's on the bye this week. Gagai, I think, getting through that tougher matchup in the wet as well. He comes into a bit of a nicer stretch of game. So him losing 5K doesn't really change much and coming off the 40. But and I suppose losing goal kicking hurts as well. But he can definitely go well if you have more unlimited funds at 680 odd. And then you're looking at sort of okay picks around the Ronaldos and these kind of guys under 600k if you aren't going for like the low maxes. But against the South, that could be the correct play to just make sure you get low max in, and then the full max down below, like the Trell is going to hit the big one that you could jump in and have a look at. Even at centre, he could help you out, and he won't be in total points, but he'll be up in the averages there. 79 for him last game. Played pretty well in that centre spot. I wonder if that will stick. But you can see there, Pat with his try got to a 76. And as always, for the last few years, Teddy is back on top and absolutely flying again with an 87 average. So getting himself back ahead, I think, with that one. Back ahead of Payne Haas and also Terrell May with that beautiful 87.3 average. 85.7 for Haas there. 82.6 for Cleary. So back on top and having a cracking season, as he always does. What a jet. And surprisingly enough, 695k because he's had a bit of a rough trot. So that is Supercoach for where we're at heading into the final part of the season. Still maintain, I lost one spot in the Podmasters into 23rd and 9th in the private crew, with David just sticking on top there, with Scoop making the comeback at 1364. But both those guys unfortunately losing rankings. They had to kind of, Scoop pretty decent score at 1364 and still lost the 3 spots, which is a bit annoying. There was only Don there with the 1343 that made the tiniest bit of movement, along with Hayden in 8th there. So it was tough going. There you go, Cooper. Took us all the way down to him and Gareth there in 14th and 15th. Making some moves near the 1400 region. And for the Podmasters, keen to see how Luke ended up. He pushed into 10th. So awesome work from him. And then Matty and Lockie all in that good position up top. So that's the Supercoach video, guys. I hope that helps you for this one. Keeping it simple, keeping it short, and hopefully can get you in the right direction for your final few rounds. And hopefully you won your qualifying final. If you didn't, hopefully you get another opportunity. And if you did win, good luck in your prelim next week. But we'll talk about it then.